Joining us now is Patrick Bet-David, host of the Patrick Bet-David or PBD Podcast. Big fan of Donald Trump, obviously comes from a different perspective than we do here at TYT. But Patrick, congratulations. I'm sure you're elated over last night's results.
Yes, thanks for having me on.
Well, I'll start off. Tell me what you think Donald Trump did this time around to attract a higher percentage of American voters. I mean, he honestly blew Kamala Harris out. It was unexpected, but what do you think he did this time around that made all the difference?
Well, I will tell you, I think Kamala is the worst candidate the left has had in a while. I think if there was a primary, she wouldn't have beaten Josh Shapiro. She wouldn't have beaten Pritzker, Newsom, maybe Whitmer at best, because that's just not her. I don't see her as a one. I see Whitmer as a one more than I see her as a one. So it was a terrible candidate. On the area of Trump, if you think about 2020, there's an element, you know how you create content? Both of you would know this. You've been doing this for a long time at the highest level. I remember about 6 years ago, I pull in Mario and I'm like, Mario, watch the YouTube channel, the last 100 videos that we have, see how many of them have gone over 100,000 views. And we first listed out how many videos we have produced over 1 million views, 100 views. So we had a lot of them. And I said, but let's look at the last 100 videos. And we looked at it. Only 2 or 3 videos were of 100,000 views. He says, Pat, I cannot believe we're only 2 or 3. I said, why do you think that is? And he's giving me his ideas, trying to be nice to me. Like, well, I just think it's this. I said, it's not the thumbnail. I said, it's not the title. I said, it's not any of that stuff. It's the fact that I don't look like I'm enjoying creating content. And the audience can tell. Whenever you're miserable like this and you're not happy about what you're doing and you're bitter and upset, the audience walks. They want to watch somebody that enjoys what they're doing. President Trump in 2020 didn't seem happy. He wasn't in flow state. In 2016, he was. In 2024, I will tell you one of the interesting things that happened with him in this 2024 election, and specifically the last 5 months. I can't even say last year. I can't even say 8 months ago. It's specifically the last 5 months. He looked like he started having fun. And when he's having fun, he's talking, he's doing his trolling, he's, getting under people's skin, he's doing his thing. He's being Trump. He wins. That wasn't the case in 2024. I can give you a lot of other things, but the X factor for me is he looked like he was having fun in 2024. He didn't look like he was having fun in 2020.
So, Patrick, there's folks on the left who think that people voted for Trump because, in my opinion, the hilarious lingo of some leftists, they centered their whiteness above anything else. So obviously, you guys disagree that it's about race, right, or gender. So what would you say your audience would say was the number one reason that they don't like the Democrats, they don't trust the Democrats, and they prefer Trump?
Well, I mean, if you think about, for me, I'll speak for myself. I'm still a registered independent till today. It's been 15 years that I'm a registered independent. You can go online and find out what PBD is registered for. You'll see independent. And I voted Bill Clinton. And I think Bill Clinton was a good president. Just so you know, I thought when people talk about Bill Clinton, I thought he did a good job. I thought him being able to sit there and work with Newt Gingrich, making things work was exciting, was good. But at that time, I wasn't married. I didn't have kids. I'm 46 years old. Today, I got 4 kids. And I got to kind of sit there and think about who's better for my kids. I lived in California 24 years. I ran a business in California for 24 years. I left California because one day some local, tax assessor comes up and he says, hey, we heard your business has grown. I said, yes. Well, you need to pay a local tax assessor tax of $69,000. I said, what are you talking about? He said, yeah, I need to pay. I said, for what? So, well, based on our estimation, this is how much you need to pay. Nothing audited, estimation. I go to the 7th floor, which was my accounting firm at the time. I said, what is this all about? He says, happens 1 out of 20 business owners, but if they come to you, got to pay for it. I said, what are you talking about? $69,000. He says, yes. I said, what counties or cities in LA do I not have to pay a assessor tax? And I don't remember at that time, I thought he said Victorville, Burbank, Glendale, Santa Monica, a couple of these cities. I said, I want to move to Glendale. So I moved my headquarters to Glendale because I want to be in a place that I can reinvest that money into the business. Eventually, I left California because I didn't think California was a pro business state. Hence, today, after COVID, 2 states in America lost $1 trillion of assets under management, New York and California. Bad policies push business owners like me, like Musk, like many others out. Now I go to Texas. I live in Texas for 5 years, Dallas, Texas, fell in love with Texas, but I wanted the best of both worlds. I wanted California and I wanted Texas. California and Texas had a baby. It's Florida. I moved to Florida. Being in Florida, I like DeSantis that he protects my kids. Even in Texas one night, when my first 2 kids are fully vaccinated, the 3rd kid, fewer, the 4th kid, we wanted the options on what to do and what not to do. You know, in Texas, there is no religious exemption. In Florida, there is. So for me at this phase of my life, when me and my wife are getting smarter, educated, we're making decisions on clear philosophies on how we want to raise our family, probably one of the main things that Trump appealed to family people like me, it sounded sane. Some of the stuff the left was saying made no sense to me. What are we talking about on what some of the messages that were given? I understand the pro-abortion, the pro-life debate, no problem. I actually understand that argument on how it can be made on both sides. I'm a Christian myself. My position is pretty clear where I'm going to be at, but I can fully understand that being a debate to be talking about. So, they went a little bit too much. By the way, Joe Biden was a moderate Democrat. I know a lot of people on the right are going to be upset with me. How could you say he was a moderate Democrat and all? He was a moderate, but he was forced to act like he was a progressive. But Kamala was a progressive, trying to act like she's a moderate, and she wasn't, and people just didn't believe her.
Yeah, I disagree with you a little bit on that last point. I don't think Kamala Harris really has a political identity. I think Kamala Harris will kind of change her political identity depending on what she thinks is beneficial for her in getting elected.
So look, I'm a populist, so I can't stand the donor class and the establishment, et cetera. I think the Democratic Party lost not because they used corporate robot A versus corporate robot B. I think that they all would have lost. I think DeSantis probably would have lost. I think that Trump has a gigantic advantage because he appears to be authentic. He appears to be populist. I've been on your show. You know that I don't think he actually is populist. So that brings us to the question, which is, look, there is a real rift in the Republican Party for the first time in my life. In the old days, it was always, no, Mitch McConnell and Dick Cheney and George Bush are wonderful people, and they're, God, it just, the donors need everything, and thank God Mitch McConnell got it to them, right? And now I know a lot of people hate Mitch McConnell and they don't like the donor class, they become more populist. But I'm worried about their authenticity. I'm worried that if Trump starts to do all the things that are not at all populist, but the old Republican way of give everything to the corporations, give everything to the donors, that you guys aren't really going to object and that your audience would be mad at you if you objected. And so I'm worried that there will not be any kind of populist, not only an uprising on the right, but even an objection on the right if Trump begins to betray his promises, does more war in the Middle East, et cetera.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you. And by the way, you have to also realize, even on the right, after what happened with Hamas and Israel, the conservative had different factions that you would look at on the positions that they had. And the military industrial complex community is like, hey, why are we trying to go to war? This John Bolton guy, all these, Liz Cheney is now this incredible woman that Whoopi Goldberg on The View. Oh my God, Liz, you're so amazing. Her father was like the ultimate military industrial complex. Now the left is kissing her ass. What the hell happened to the left? The one area with Trump that you got to give him credit for, he doesn't want war. And he said it and he did it while he was in. And I don't know if you guys saw what Dmitry Medvedev said a couple days ago when he came out and he said, if Trump even thinks about trying to prevent or get in the way of our war with us and Ukraine, there will be a JFK type style assassination. I'm sure you saw that. And then he came out and he says Kamala Harris is dumb, is stupid, is uneducated and controllable. I think these are some of the words that he used against them. So of course, the position that he had for the first 4 years, doesn't want war. Is he gonna go out and all of a sudden be pro-war? If he does that, Cenk, the base that supported him is gonna be very, very loud and against it. It's just gonna happen. Now, who he puts in as his chief of staff, is he gonna bring somebody from the swamp? Who's he going to put around him as a team? I don't know. I mean, at this point of the game, the market votes you in. Then once they vote you in, then they hold you accountable for what you said you were going to do. That part, of course, we have to watch to see what's going to happen the next 12, 24, 36 months.
Patrick, I know you have limited time. Can I ask you one more question about the anti-war message from Trump? So I hear you that he, boasts about not starting any new wars. He did take some actions in his first term that could have very well driven the United States into a hot war with Iran, which I was concerned about at the time. To your credit, you're right. The America First crowd, part of his base that does not want to go to war, pushed back on the possibility of Trump conducting an airstrike in Iran, and he called that airstrike off. But I am worried because right now you have Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, elated that Trump got elected because he thinks that Trump will do his bidding and will essentially engage in war with Iran on behalf of Netanyahu, in addition to allowing the Israeli government to do whatever they want with the West Bank and other Palestinian territory. So what are your thoughts on Trump potentially pursuing war with Iran?
Yeah, so that's such a great question. So the other day I had Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi here, right? So when he's here, we're having a conversation together. One of the things I played is I played a clip of me asking President Trump when he was on the podcast saying, hey, Iran, the last time you put sanctions, there was so much pressure that Iran almost fell, okay? Voter turnout, all this stuff was high. Right now, Iran has the lowest voter turnout it's ever had. Only 39% showed up. I said, would you be willing to do everything necessary to help Iran go back to what it once used to be in the 70s where the regime falls and it goes back to democracy? And he didn't even hesitate. He just stopped me right there and says, look, Pat, we don't even know how to regulate ourselves, let alone another country. It took him half a second to respond when he said that. I don't think he's on the same page with Bibi. I do think, there is camera talk that you do. And sometimes you're speaking on camera, but people don't know, but you're really talking to your husband, right? Sometimes you're talking to your wife. Sometimes you're talking, just like we may talk to our wife or anybody. Sometimes he uses the camera to talk to world leaders. He's done this many, many times, and he's very strategic with the way he did with Kissinger, when he brought Schumer in, when he brought Pelosi in. I'm going to shut down the government. I'll take the responsibility. He likes to use that, right? I think with the camera, he may be saying something with Bibi, but I think behind closed doors, I don't know if he's going to want that war to be there with him. I don't think that's a priority of this. Now, let's say the other part to be thinking about this. We already know on the first one, he did not create wars on the first one, right? Meaning the first 4 years. This is a second term. Sometimes when you run for office, my opinion, your first term, maybe if you said you're going to do 5 things, you only do 2 of them. And you don't do the other 3 with the hopes of getting reelected. Well, he didn't get reelected the first time, but now he's getting reelected for a second term, right? Is he going to go for everything? Because this is a legacy term. Is he going to be pushing the envelope hardcore? What is he going to be going for the next 4 years? Everybody wants something, Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, right? Everybody has something. What's going to be his? Is it going to be peace? Is it going to be economy? Is it going to be wall? Is it going to be getting rid of the ACA? What is it? Is it going to be exposing the DOJ, the CIA, doing the Twitter's file, FBI files? Is that what it's going to be? What is going to be his legacy? But if he all of a sudden goes pro-war on his second term, it's going to really hurt the fact that on the first term he was a non-war president. Everyone's going to forget about what happened on the first term, and everyone's going to say, oh, that was just one term. He really all along wanted war. I'm not convinced he's going to do that, and I hope Bibi and some others don't drag America into it, knowing his ability to negotiate offline and using camera and media. I think he's going to be my success rate. I would put him on this, on what I think is going to happen. I think 70-30, Bibi's going to listen to him and not be as aggressive as he's been under Biden. Again, my opinion.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's going to be really interesting to see because either the right-wing base is correct about Trump or Benjamin Netanyahu is correct about Trump. But they can't both be right because Netanyahu definitely thinks that Trump's going to help him start the war in Iran. So now we're all waiting to see what happens. But Patrick Bet-David, thank you for joining us, brother. And let's keep the conversation going. I like that it's not the old days where all we do is yell at each other with talking points and stuff, and we're having real conversations and finding common ground and plenty of things we still disagree on. So thank you. We appreciate you joining us.
And say hi to Vinny for us.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. We really appreciate it, guys. And we appreciate it if you become members because that allows us to be independent, honest, progressive, all the things that you don't get from corporate media. And all of that is because of you guys. Hit the join button below and become one of us. Become a young Turk.